Hey there guys, so there's a lot I want to talk about in this video, so this is probably going to be quite a long video, I don't know how long, so let's get stuck into it. So let's talk about some of the developments over this weekend's boxing and what it's going to lead to. So let me briefly give congratulations to Alexander Usyk for his knockout victory. As you guys know, I was predicting that Usyk would get robbed, and if you look at the scorecards and how the fight was unfolding, it was clear as day that that was the plan. He was on his way to getting robbed, and things were touch and go there. But thankfully, he took it out of the judges' hands, and he trumped the politics. You know, he went in there and he got the job done by knockout. He fought a very specific strategy where he was looking for the knockout, looking to make the knockout happen. It was really forcing the fight. And I think he knew what the script was, and I'm so glad, thank God he got the knockout. So moving on from that, congratulations there to Usyk. What I really wanted to talk about, the main thing I had on my mind for this video, is the World Boxing Super Series. Now, as you guys know, Mairis Briedis defeated Gevor, and Krzysztof Glowacki defeated Maxim Vlasov. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch the Glowacki fight. However, I did manage to catch the Mairis Briedis Gevor fight, and I got a lot to say about that fight. Now, first of all, I want to just tell you guys how I saw the fight going into it, because I didn't make a video for the fight, but I had a specific idea of how I thought it was going to go. Now, I've followed Gevor's career for a long time. I've known about him for years because, as you guys know, I follow German boxing and I've seen a lot of Sauerland streams and whatnot. And obviously, being from Scotland, I follow Scottish boxing too. And there was a fight that took place in 2015, I believe. And Gevor took on a guy called Stephen Simmons. Now, Stephen Simmons was quite a popular Scottish cruiserweight from Edinburgh. However, he was only really a domestic level fighter. For example, Stephen Simmons was knocked out by Matty Askin in 2 rounds earlier this year. So that tells you the level of fighter that he is. You know, he was very basic, wasn't a world-class contender at all, domestic level at best. And he went over to Germany and gave Gevor an extremely tough and extremely close fight that a lot of people thought that Stephen Simmons actually won. If I remember rightly, he lost the fight by a split decision, and it was split opinions on who people thought won. A lot of people thought Simmons won, a lot of people thought Gevor won. It was that kind of fight. And then Gevor's next fight after that, he went over to Poland and he took on Krzysztof Glowacki, the former long-time champion. And again, very close, very, very competitive back and forth fight that could have gone either way. And Gevor lost a split decision. So, with those things in mind, going into this Briedis fight, Gevor to me seemed like the type of fighter who was just too workmanlike, and you know, he was just too basic European level to defeat somebody like Mairis Briedis. I thought that Briedis was the better athlete of the two. I thought Briedis was the bigger puncher. I thought Briedis, although he's not quite as quick-handed as Gevor is, or as unorthodox, I felt that with his better punching technique, and the fact that he has knockout victories over the likes of Manuel Char, for example, I just thought that Mairis Briedis was just going to be too sharp and too powerful for Gevor. I thought he was going to completely outbox him, outwork him, dominate him, and stop him. Potentially stop him anyway. I at least thought it would be a wide, clear decision win. But that's not how the fight went down at all. That's not how it went down at all. I was so surprised by how this fight went. First of all, let me just tell you guys how I saw this fight. I thought Gevor not only won this fight, I thought he won this fight clearly. I don't even think it was that close. The fight was competitive, but I certainly don't think it was close enough for every judge to give Mairis Briedis the win by the margins that they did. Let's talk about how I scored the fight. So, the first 7 rounds of this fight, I give every single one of those rounds to Gevor, minus the 3rd round, because obviously Gevor had a point deducted for hitting behind the head, and rightfully so. They were blatant rabbit punches behind the head from Gevor, and the referee rightfully, in my opinion, deducted a point. I had no argument with that, but I still thought he won that round pretty clearly. So I guess you could either give it a 10-8 to Briedis, or you could give it an even, I don't know how it works, maybe an even round, but I thought Gevor dominated the round, but he had a point deducted, and I'm assuming that the judges gave the round to Briedis, judging by how the fight ended up. yeah, the first 7 rounds, clear sweep in my opinion for no Gevor. I thought he was too quick for Briedis. Briedis looked so static and so stiff in this fight, and I've never seen Briedis look like that in a fight. You know, Briedis to me has always come across as a guy who, you know, is very confident and very energetic and throws some nice straight punches with a lot of power and proper technique. And this fight, his timing was off, his technique was all over the place. And for the first 7 rounds, I thought no Gevor pretty much schooled him. Then I gave the 8th round to Briedis. I thought Briedis picked up the pace, and I think he won that round. Bearing in mind I've only seen the fight once, and watching it the first time, I gave that round to Mairis Briedis. I think I gave the 9th round to Mairis Briedis. So I thought, looking at that round, I was like, oh well, maybe Briedis will start to claw his way back into this, and maybe he'll dominate the later rounds. Then came the 10th round. The 10th round was a big round for no Gevor. He not only won the round clearly, but Mairis Briedis also had a point deducted for holding. Now, he only has himself to blame for the point being deducted because he was putting his hand behind Gevor's back. And that's a problem which I'll get to with Briedis, that there's a flaw of his. The guy, as good as he is on the outside and as good a boxer as he is, as technically skilled as he is, he has no inside game whatsoever. He has no idea how to defend himself inside. I mean, he's like who can I compare him to? He's like somebody like Robert Helenius, you know, a good fighter on the outside, but you get on the inside and all he does is just grab. He has no idea how to fight inside or to shorten his punches, and that's how Briedis is going to have to. Somebody's going to have to learn, in my opinion, if he wants to win this tournament. And yeah, he lost a point, so that was a big round for no Gevor. So to me, I already gave Gevor the first 7, and I gave him the 10th, which was a 10-8 because of the point deduction. So at that point, for me, Briedis needed a knockout or a series of knockdowns to even make the fight a draw, or to win. So yeah, Briedis, I gave the last 2 rounds to Briedis. I thought the 11th round was his best round. I thought he started to find his rhythm in that round. And then the 12th round, I thought Gevor looked so terrible and sloppy. I think he was running out of gas in the 12th round, and I think that Briedis just outboxed him and outworked him in that round. So Briedis did find his foot in this fight later on, but I think that it was too little too late in my opinion, and I thought he should have at least been on his way to a decision loss, a unanimous decision, but yeah, Briedis ended up winning the fight by a unanimous decision. I didn't agree with the scores, neither did a lot of people. I know there was a lot of support for Briedis in the crowd. I think there was a lot of Latvians who travelled to see the match, which is good. They really support their own, and yeah, they were happy that their man won. And I was rooting for Briedis, so I am glad he got the decision. I'm glad he won, but I didn't agree with the decision. I thought he lost the fight, but either way, a lot of people now are very, very disappointed in Briedis, and rightfully so with his performance. It was a disappointing performance, and they think that going into the next fight, which I believe, if I remember rightly, I believe it's going to be against Krzysztof Glowacki, who won against Vlasov. And again, I haven't seen that fight, but apparently he won the fight pretty clearly and scored knockdowns and whatnot. So yeah, apparently Briedis is going to be facing Glowacki in the semi-final. In this semi-final, a lot of people believe that Krzysztof Glowacki now is going to handily beat Mairis Briedis. A lot of people are making him the favourite based on this performance. You know what, guys? I'm not so sure about that. I'm actually not so sure that I would favour Glowacki over Briedis. At this point in time, I really don't know, because I'll tell you guys why. In that 11th and 12th round, I think that Briedis had found, like I said earlier, I think he found his timing in the 11th and 12th rounds, and I think that he was more energetic and more impressive in those rounds than he was for the previous 10 rounds. So in my opinion, I think Briedis, he must have had a bad training camp. Apparently he was injured. His timing was way off. I mean, he was just so static and so stiff in this fight, and I think it was a good workout for him. I think towards the end of the fight, he picked up the pace, and I think that he did improve a little bit. And I'm thinking that for this next fight against Glowacki, should it take place, I think that Mairis Briedis is going to be better. I think we're going to get a better Mairis Briedis. I think he's going to go back to the basics, go back to the drawing board. He realizes that he can't rely on the judges. Okay, he lost to Alexander Usyk in his backyard. So if the fight takes place in Latvia, I can certainly see Briedis. You know, he knows he can't rely on the judges, or wherever the fight takes place. He knows that he's probably not going to get another gift. He's not going to get any favors in a close fight after this decision. So yeah, I think that he's going to need to work on some things. I think he's going to need to, you know, work on improving his inside game, because Glowacki can fight inside. Okay, I've seen Glowacki fight many times too, and he's very dangerous in close. If you look at the Marco Huck fight, man, I mean, that counter right hook and that straight left that Glowacki has, the guy's very dangerous. I mean, I could see him catching Briedis with a right hook and all that, and I can see him giving him problems inside. And I don't think that Briedis is going to be able to hold and be effective with just holding against Glowacki as much as he was in this match. So I think that's something he's going to have to work on. But the thing with Briedis, which I think is very impressive, is, you know, on a good night when he's in shape, he's very, very good at keeping his opponent outside behind a jab and a straight right hand. You know, he throws that really cool half hook, half uppercut that he throws sometimes with the left hand, and you know, he's got a nice straight right hand that's very powerful when he lands it. And I mean, like I said, he was able to knock out Manuel Char at heavyweight. You know, his knockout against Simon Vallily, stuff like that. The guy can punch. He really can. You know, he knocked out Olaran Uduradola, who's pretty tough. You know, he was able to. He even stunned Usyk a couple of times, who we know has a granite chin. So Mairis Briedis can punch, guys. He really can. And if he can keep a fight at long range and box you from the outside, I could totally see him winning against Glowacki, if I'm being honest. I still think that Briedis has a lot to give. I still think he has fights left in him. I wouldn't say that he's shot just yet. I think that some of his shortcomings have been exposed. And I think I think he knows he's gonna have to work on them. I really do, and I think that he is going to. I think that we're going to get a much better Mairis Briedis, whether he wins or not. I think we're going to see a much more prepared, much more technically prepared Mairis Briedis in the next fight. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about that. But either way, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really, really looking forward to that match, man. I really want to see that fight. I hope it happens. Briedis against Glowacki, and it'll be interesting to see where the fight takes place, because you know, this fight was a weird one, because it was totally neutral. You had one guy from Poland versus one guy from Russia, and then you had one guy from Latvia versus a guy from Armenia based in Germany, I believe. I believe that's Gevor's setup. I believe he's from Armenia, but he's based in Germany, and so this was entirely neutral. This was an entirely neutral setting for these guys, and I'm wondering if Glowacki versus Briedis, if that is the next fight, and I haven't made a mistake there, I'm pretty sure that's the next fight in the series. It will be interesting to see where they have that fight, because if they have the fight in America, in somewhere like Chicago, like they had this fight, or you know, somewhere where there's a big Polish contingent, it'll probably be pro Glowacki, the crowd. However, if they have it in Latvia, that'll be interesting too, because obviously the World Boxing Super Series has already had 2 big fights in Latvia, so that'd be interesting. I don't know. It's one of them fights. I'm trying to think where it would make more sense to have it, but I guess it's entirely up to the Sauerlands or whoever's running the show. So yeah, that's interesting. I'm looking forward to that fight, man. It's going to be really good. And try to think what else happened. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about Ricky Burns and his impressive knockout victory over Scott Cardle. You know, guys, Ricky Burns, I've been very honest with my opinions on Ricky Burns. I think the guy is a good domestic level fighter, you know, who's got a good work ethic. He does the basics well, but I've never really seen him as a world level fighter, even though he has won 3 world titles in 3 different divisions. So, I mean, it's weird to say that a guy has all those titles, you know, on his resume, but to say that he's not world class. But I just want to say I'm happy for Ricky Burns, man. I mean, the guy, he's one of Scotland's most accomplished boxers ever. I mean, he's the only fighter from here to win 3 world titles in 3 divisions. So yeah, good luck to him. I think he's looking for a title shot at lightweight. If he can get a fight with Lomachenko, man. I mean, that I'd be championing for that to take place here, so I could go and see it, man. I can't see it happening, but I'm just putting it out there that I would like to see it, you know, just for my own sake, so I could go to a Lomachenko fight, man. But you know, Anthony Crolla won on the. I didn't see Anthony Crolla's fight. I did see Ricky Burns' fight. I managed to find a video of it, but I didn't see Anthony Crolla's fight. But apparently Anthony Crolla won a close decision against the guy from Indonesia, Dawood Yordan. Now, I know about Dawood Yordan because I'd seen him fight previously against an unbeaten Russian guy called Pavel Malakov. I actually watched that fight live. I remember it was being streamed on YouTube at the time, on RCC Box Promotions, their YouTube channel. They streamed it for free, and he absolutely destroyed Pavel Malakov, knocked him out in, I think it was the 5th round, or was it? It was either the 5th or the 7th, I can't remember. I think it was the 5th, and he just dominated him and knocked him out. And yeah, I was concerned for Anthony Crolla going into this fight. I thought that there was a good chance he could lose. It was going to be a competitive fight. Haven't seen it, but apparently he won. And I was listening to the radio afterwards, man, and somebody on the radio called in and was saying that they wanted that Anthony Crolla's going to fight Lomachenko. So I was talking about Ricky Burns potentially fighting Lomachenko. Apparently Anthony Crolla wants to fight Lomachenko now. So if either of those fights happen, you know, you could see Lomachenko coming over to the UK, which would be fun, you know, for either one of those fights. I'd probably go to either one if I could get tickets, man. But yeah, I couldn't get tickets for this past card. I was going to go to it, the Usyk fight, but yeah, waited too long to get tickets, and the only ones that were left were like £100, so I'm not paying £100 for a ticket, man. But yeah, yeah, this was a good weekend for boxing, man. Some good results. Again, I didn't agree with the Briedis Gevor decision. I thought it was a bad decision, but I was happy that Briedis won because I'm a fan of Briedis, man. I like watching him fight. I think the guy's very fundamental, and you know, he's fun to watch. I really do think he is, and I think there can be some really high level fights in the cruiserweight division for this guy, or the heavyweight division if he decides to move up one day. So yeah, I'm happy that Briedis did get the win, but it's just a shame that it was by a gift decision. But either way, he got the win, and I'm cool with that. Yeah, so let me know what you guys think about any of those fights which I've talked about. Again, I haven't yet seen the Crolla fight. I do plan to watch it at some point. Again, I saw the Ricky Burns fight. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. God bless you guys, and yeah, stay tuned for more videos. I got a lot I want to talk about in the upcoming weeks. So let me know what you guys think, and thanks for watching. God bless.